I situation. And now it's good time to go over. I can put more question in there, but yeah. So what is what is polynomial inequality? Give me a second. Oh, there we Let me try this again. Others. All right. So what if you have something like x minus 3, x plus 2, and x minus 5 is greater than 0? Ian, stand up. So everybody should be paying attention. Aria, you should be paying attention over there, not on your paper, because so there was two ways to resolve this. I'm going to talk about both ways. And this is how you check your answers, by the way. So for me, any type, the higher than first degree, so higher than first degree inequality, you have to do something called number line test. Okay, anything higher than the first degrees. Okay. Yeah, you might have, you not only have to stand there, you have to write down stuff, because anything higher than the first degree. So let's say it's x minus 5 is greater than 2. You just move the 5 over, solve for that 5. But this is called polynomial inequality, because if you distribute all together, it's going to be polynomial. So what you're going to do is going to find endpoints, find the critical point first, which is x minus 3 is equal to 0, x plus 2 equal to 0, x minus 5 equal to 0. So x equal to 3, x equal to -2, x equal to 5. And this should be an easy part of the test. All you gotta do is line up the zeros or critical numbers. Well, here, let me say zeros better. So 0. Okay, so you line up the zeros like that. And you line up the factors, x minus 3, x plus 2, x minus 5. So far, do you guys have any questions? Now I'm going to plug in anything from -infinity to -2 into here. So what's a good number to plug in? -3, okay. So if I plug in -3, what kind of sign am I going to get? Negative. If I plug in -3 here, what kind of sign am I going to get? I don't care about the number. I only care about the sign. If I plug in -3, I'm going to get negative, right? So this will end up to be what? 3 negative together is going to be negative, because negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative is equal to negative. Yen? And you make sure you write down stuff. So you not only have to stand up, you have to keep your pen moving. What's a good number to plug in between -2 to 3? 0 is the best to plug in. So if I plug in 0 to x minus 3, it's going to hit negative. 0 plus 2 is positive. 0, -5 is negative. Is that going to be summed up to what sign? Positive. Is it? I'm going to plug in 4 in there. So 4 minus 3. Positive minus, right? And then if I plug in 6, positive, positive, positive. So the sign is positive. Now this number line test does not represent the answer. The number line test told you where the answer is. So where do you think the question is? Where's the question? What's the most important part of the question? Yes, Annika? Greater than zeros. Good. So if this is greater than 0, means you're looking for the positive region. We've done this before, so it's not the first time. So that's why I want to put it on this test, because I didn't want to talk about it. So just look at a positive region. And that's it. And that's my solution. How many of you guys don't understand? Raise your hand if you don't understand. Yes, Jayla.
Positive, negative, between. How did you get those again?
Okay, so I plug in a number between negative. I plug in a number between um. I plug in a number between a negative infinity to -2. So what would be a number you're thinking? -3. So if I plug in -3, so imagine that -3 into this factor. -3 minus 3 is going to be negative. So I'm going to get negative. -3 plus 2, that's going to give me negative. So that's, and -3 minus 5 is still going to give me negative. So they're all negatives. So 3 negative signs together is going to give you a negative at the end. Yeah. Do you have to write union? Yeah, it's probably best you write union. That just means or this interval or this interval. Yes.
Last time, do you have to use brackets for certain stuff?
Yes, that's a good question. So if today the question is greater equal to, then you want to use bracket -2 to 3 union bracket 5, but infinity is still parentheses. So that is if it's greater than, it's going to be greater equal to. That means you can equal to the value. Does that make sense? Is that okay? All right, so let's try one. Now this one I'm gonna give it to you is in the polynomial form. Hopefully you know what to do because you had to do the same thing. So it'll be x cubed plus x squared less equal to 4x plus 4. So think about what you had to do first. What do you have to do first? What? Yeah, but it's gonna be less equal to 0. Make sure you know that because anything higher degree, you also have to move everything equal to 0 first. That 0, you can use the 0 product property. And then what do you do after that? Factor it, and then you're still gonna get the same situation here. So try it. Hopefully you got the right region. Data. to work. Set equation equal to 0 first, less or equal to 0 first. So at the end of the day, you still need to know how to factor. Regardless, the factoring skill has to be there all the time. You need to learn how to factor. Check another person. How do they factor? It's a 4-term. What are you supposed to do? Like, think of all those things. Jesus, Rylan, you guys gotta go back and do yesterday's homework. Same as Andrew. Same as some other people. Cohen, did you do homework? Good. Because whatever yesterday's homework is gonna be all 70% of the test. 30% of the test is gonna be today's homework. Did you do a number line test? You write down notes. Learn to look at the notes, Jayla. You had to be able to recognize what you write down. My goal is set the equation, set it equal to 0 first. I'll parentheses the first 2 term, parentheses the second 2 term. I factor out x squared. I factor out a -4 here, so that's going to be x plus 1. And I'm going to get x plus 1 times x squared minus 4 is greater than, that's equal to 0. Did you guys get this part? Just simple factoring. It's nothing abnormal. Can I factor more? Yeah. X plus 2 and x minus 2. Hopefully you see that. Now I'm going to find the 0. Once I did that, I'm going to have a -2, -1, 2. I'm going to do the number line test here. See, Jayla, you didn't do a number line test. You cannot just rely on everybody. You got to do it on your own. It's not a way to didn't failure, and ask other people help. In order for you to ask other people's help, then you have to make sure you fail first. You did it completely wrong. That's fine. You tried, and then you go ask other people's help. Sometimes I don't want to help you just because you haven't failed yet. If you haven't failed yet, what's the point? So you had to fail first, get it completely wrong, that's fine. Then you go about and says, which part of it wrong. Because that way it's much more easier to get feedback rather than you never fail. How did other people give you feedback? Okay, so now I'm gonna plug in any number. What's a number to plug in? Could be anything between negative infinity to -2. -3, okay, so that's gonna be -3, that's gonna give you negative. -3, that's gonna give you negative. -3 minus 2, that's gonna give you negative. So 3 negative signs is gonna be negative. Now the here is kind of tricky. I'll plug in negative 1.5. That's gonna be negative, positive, negative, positive. I'll plug in 0, positive, positive, negative, negative. I'll plug in 3, positive, 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 positive. So where's the answer though? The negative. Remember, you always look it back to the question. The question says is less than 0. So that means you look for the negative region. So that's going to be negative infinity to -2. Union. Now there's a bracket because this is correct. So -1 bracket 2, 2. How many of you guys got it correct? Okay. Rest of you guys need to catch up. This is not something new. This is something that we've done with quadratic inequality. We've done with quadratic. We've done with two things before. Next year, your whole chapters is going to be based on this. It's at chapter 4 when we're doing concavity, increasing, decreasing. This has one question on MCQ, so make sure you get it right. Make sure you understand it. Okay. What's the difference between this, though? The idea is this is called rational inequality. Rational inequality. So what is rational inequality? Well, rational inequality is no different, just in fractions. But this is one sign multiplied the other one. But this sign just one sign divided by the other one. So there's actually no difference. Okay, so I'm going to make this question a little bit trickier. It's greater or equal to 0. Why did I say this question a little bit tricky? I'm going to explain to you in a second. So it turns out I only care about a sign. When you divide, you multiply, they are the same operation. You do exactly the same thing. Longest they are simple fractions. So you can say, oh, okay, well, that's going to be -3 and 2. Because I don't care if they multiply or divide, I'm still checking out the signs. Okay, I'm still checking out the signs. So I'm going to say x minus 2 here, x plus 3. Regardless, I'm dividing this time. The signs still dividing together. You still look at the signs. So at -4, I'm going to plug in -4 minus 2 is what? -4 plus 3 is negative. So it's going to be positive. If I plug in 0, negative, positive, negative. If I plug in 3, positive, positive, positive. Where's the answer? Good, but can you tell me what an interval is? Be careful. I'm telling you, be careful here. What'd you say, Austin? Bracket 2 to infinity. That's one of them. Good. What else? negative infinity.
Parentheses, negative infinity, the bracket.
It's actually parentheses on both. Ah, you're awake on the right time. Negative infinity to negative 3. Because I negative 3, it's going to cause undefined. So it's an asymptote. If denominator equal to 0, is an asymptote. So that is not an answer. So does that make sense? Because you cannot have negative 3 on the denominator. So this one's a little bit more trickier. Am I going too fast? Okay, so I'm going to do one last one. This one's still a quadratic inequality. So now here's the things I'm going to help you on this one. I'm going to help you guide you over. I'm going to give you an extra practice question. Just because this one's a little bit tricky. The only thing is you have to make sure you set the equation equal to 0, even though they're first degree, but they're still rational. So -2 greater than 0. The problem is they're not dividing. They're not multiplying. They're just subtracting 2. So what's a good result to make sure they are multiplied together? Yes. They have the same denominator. Awesome. So you're on a one step ahead. So that's going to be x plus 3 over x plus 3, because I can combine fractions, right? So that's going to be x plus 3, x plus 1, minus 2 times x plus 3 greater than 0, because they have same denominator, they can add the top. So here it's going to be negative x and I think -5. So where's the zeros? -5, right? -3. At -5 and -3. I'm gonna test the same way. And I'm gonna test -6. That's gonna be positive, actually. Right? Does that make sense? -6 plus 3 is gonna be negative. So this is negative. -4 is gonna give me negative. So it's positive. If I plug in 0, negative, positive, it's negative. So greater than 0 will be answered here.
Bracket, -5.
Bracket, -5.
Negative parentheses.
-3 parentheses. So this is called number line test. This is the last question of your test. On Thursday. It's not factorable. It's not factor. You go and factor. Change your multiplication. If it's something that you need a combined fraction, you need a combined fraction to make it like just only division only. Not see at this part here, it's not okay. If it's something -2, it's not multiply something. You cannot check the sign. So you have to make sure you get to that status first. Now, how do I check my answer if I don't have a computer? I mean, Mathway, I don't think Mathway check inequality like that, but you can check by looking at the graph. Look at this, x minus 3, x plus 2, and x minus 5. So x, what was the first one? Minus 3, right? What was the first one? I don't know. X plus 2, x minus 5. I'm so um so it's greater than 0. So I'm looking for where the graph is what? Graph is positive. It's above x-axis. Does that make sense? So that means from -2 to 3. And since they are greater than, so it's going to be parentheses, so it'll be -2 to 3. And also from 5 to infinity. Do you see they're above the graph? The graph's above x-axis. That is a positive region. So you can actually check on calculator, even though you don't have a calculator on Thursday's test, but you can check on calculator when you're doing the homework, whether you're doing it right or wrong. Jada, are you paying attention? Because you're not gonna ask me this afternoon. You're gonna learn how to check on your own. You're gonna learn how to do your number line on your own. Before you ask other people questions, you must do your number line first. I think a lot of you guys are so afraid to fail, and you'll never succeed if you're afraid to fail. I'm gonna say that again. You'll never succeed if you're afraid to fail. You gotta fail on your homework. You have to. And then you can ask for feedback. That's how you improve. That is the way to become better math student. All you guys here. Now check the last question. The last question, we can say that is, we can even just type in the way it is. We says x plus 2, x plus 1 over x plus 3. Oops. Over x plus 3. And then we can just type in like -2 like that. Now you see at 3 is an asymptote. At -3 is an asymptote. So you never equal to -3. So where's the positive region? Wait, we're looking for positive, right? Positive is only between -5, which is you can include in -5, but you see that -5 here, they are above x-axis. All those things are the answer. So you can analyze a graph. For me, I want you to be able to analyze a graph. That's a more important skill, is by be able to analyzing graph, because AP exam is going to ask you to analyze. Got it? Okay. Let me ask you one more question on AP exam that will ask you. Can you do this homework on your own? Number line test? Okay. So AP exam, I was looking through all the AP exam yesterday because that's the first time they create AP exam. Oops, that's a. Let me redraw that again. AP exam asks a question that's weird, so I'm gonna show you how weird they ask questions. So they like this. There's a waterfall. So there was a 0 at x equal to x equal to -3, x equal to 2, and there was a 0 at 3i. What is the minimum degree of this polynomial? What is the minimum degree of this polynomial? I'm gonna say that again. What is the minimum degree on this polynomial? Yes. No.
First group.
What's the minimum degree of this polynomial? Kind of tricky. Yes.
Square root.
No. Armin? No. Are you sure? I'm gonna ask Sarah. No. Armin? You're just guessing. You guys just guessing. What's the point of guessing if you don't understand? What's the minimum degree of this polynomial? Huh? Nope. What is the minimum degree of this polynomial? Yes? McKenna, you want to explain why is 7?
X equals negative 3 to the third, there's 3, and then x equals 2 to the second, so it's 5, and then 3i is 2 because I is 2.
So there is a 1, right? And the 1, another 1, right? Because there's an imaginary, there's 3i and negative 3i. So total is what? 3 plus 2? It's 5. Why does it 3? This is m equal to 3. This m equal to 2. And this is 1 plus 1 because 3i and negative 3i. So they are total 7. Good job, Safa and you know. This is how AP exam will ask you a question. They say minimum degrees. They didn't say maximum. Maximum could be infinite, but minimum degree. You already have a 3, right? So next time, don't be the first one to answer the question. Be the last one to answer the question. Think about it. Because if all the first one to ask question, you're not processed without thinking. Why did I ask you this question? Must be something else to the story. You want to try to? Yes.
Where can we see that on the graph?
What you cannot see that on the graph. The 3i, you're not gonna see it. If you did, you saw it like one day of that video of the guy pulled a graph out of the different dimension, and those dimension has different colors. Each color represents another complex number. Those are the way to see that dimension. But normal graph, you cannot see it. So this I, 3i and negative 3i, you cannot see it anywhere. You cannot see it anywhere. Not on the x-axis. Okay, let's try this again. Let's just say if I have oops, my bad. And I have x equal to negative 1, x equal to 3, right? And x equal to 2i and x equal to 3i. What's the minimum degree you can have? Ian, you're falling asleep again. What is, so what will be this question? What is the minimum degree of the function? I know you know already. Charlotte? 6 or 7? 7. 7's right. So this one is a m is equal to 2. This m is equal to 1. And there is a 2i, there's a negative 2i, there's negative 3i. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 degrees. Michael, you understand this?
Yeah, I understand that.
Aria, you're not trying on your homework, and you're not coming at lunch, and you're not trying to get better, and your test result is gonna stay the same. You cannot just depend. You have to depend on your own. I told you, lunch is here. You can come here, ask anybody questions, but you don't. Yeah, not right before the test. You have to do it pretty much consistently because you're struggling. See, this kid is not even struggling. He come in way after than you are.
No, that's the vacation I took it. We go writing. Well, I found, well, I took it again, but a lower dosage.
Okay, then you have to watch a video if you're falling asleep because
Yes,
I went over a lot of stuff
do
today.
watch.
I try to keep you awake, but
You did for the most part.
but you did try to stay awake. You need to write down stuff. If you don't write down stuff, then you're gonna keep on fall asleep because you could have just lain there and fall asleep.
Sorry.
I know. I feel you. I feel you. You're really smart, and I just need you to stay awake.
Okay, can I please close that window?
Why?
The fact that it's almost open, but not open.
You feel insecure?
All of the locks are in the open position except for one that
You can have some variables.
Go. I'll take care of it.
So, yeah, it's a lot more to see this type of matter. You can do just one x as long as you multiply
Hola.
like x
¿Qué
by
tú quieres?
y at the end of your area. Because if we're asking for your x and y, yeah, you know, like with 15 is fine. What you get is value for each x.
You know, that's the first language I learned when I come to the United States.
That would be x.
No, I learned how to curse word. So there's a bunch of Spanish kids like, yeah, say this to teacher. I'm like, okay, and I say to teacher, and I get suspended. I wasn't really smart.
Yeah, just keep in mind that like the x and the y can be literally whatever you want to be. It's not asking for x minus.
I prefer like 4x.
Your markers keep running out. People don't look past that.
That's really annoying.
It's probably Kevin.
Walk
Oh,
out of the
Nathan.
room, they walk out all their markers and I have to go over there.
Whoa. You don't have to pay me that much. Huh?
I better get donuts then.
I'll get donut. I'll get everybody donut.
Don't get everybody donuts. Don't get them. Don't deserve them.
Questions. I just need the wording to be more specific.
I get that.
Because I couldn't tell sometimes like what was happening.
No, yeah, because I really think intervening obstacle, you really don't have to do a pass at all.
Because I couldn't, what is that side by side? I was like, okay, are they connected? Why is there right?
Like, you get 2 lessons. I think you get 2 or 3. I think I was there for 3.
True.
And then you get like a bonus for that. So like it works.
Did anyone get number 8? I don't.
Yeah. I know so much fun.
No be on the test. If you don't show up Friday, I don't know. I don't know if I want to put it on Thursday or I'll put it on Friday.
Put it on Thursday because I'm not going to be in your class.
Bruh.
No. Put it on Friday.
We put it on Friday just because of that. Just to make people show up.
Dude, that's evil.
I'm not gonna do that to people. But if you can take it Thursday.
Okay, do you want me to take time? Yes.
Yeah, like,
Number 10. Oh, not Friday. Friday.
yeah, it's from this.
So, yeah, I'll only do it 10 days.
Nathan, what the hell's wrong with you? It seems like I need to knock you down. You need a massage.
No, I need a mission.
Okay, first of all, that's not how to draw a box. What the? Sean, you're. That's not how you draw a box.
It's not.
Bro, that's like the same thing I was doing almost.
No, it's definitely not.
Okay. Oh, no, so,
Wait,
that's a... You can probably inside of the box, too.
geez, you're a bitch too. No, why do you do that?
So, okay. First things first.
I was again, I didn't like it.
So first things first.
First thing first, that's how you draw a box.
Oh my
Hair along the brain.
I watched like the
Go straight down the line.
Oh,
No,
Go
why do you draw the top first?
Now, honestly, I like
That's
this. Okay, wait, so. Well, okay. So, its width is 4 meters.
Bye.
No homework?
The other
36. What is the volume?
Like you fell on the floor. I tripped over the end of the chair. Like you were like scrambling. Bro. It was crazy.
It should also be.
Yeah, boss.
Okay.
Yeah, she was reading it.
Right.
So 9 equal to length.
Yeah.
You know, the surface of this here.
When you can't flip, you just multiply it across.
Is open because it's
I'm just saying, like when you multiply across, right?
What if sorry? It's not
I don't know how to make that one. What is this? Bro, what is this?
What, you should show Mr. You should show Mr.
Actually, no, I didn't. Actually, not really.
Oh, this was not.
Number 9 and 10.
I got this part.
Why?
I was like showing up.
My thing's definitely not right. I mean, my ex is pregnant, but my own age, I got the same.
Everybody can do that.
Doesn't make any sense. It's rectangular.
Wait, this one looks like a profit. Okay, so I don't know.
Okay, so what's the volume of the rectangle? So x, y, yeah. That's so John was it's gonna be minus 2x minus 2. Honestly,
I think
you got it. On each side there's x.
Oh, there was no age. Age actually is 3 minus 2. Age is like,
This one's gonna be this one.
I'll see if X just plug in back get age.
Okay, 3 minus 2 because you have x here.
this, and then you get a number.
Yeah, you can say no. You should have.
Or maybe I
Multiply by x.
you go 3 times 10. I forgot.
I don't know that but
See that is now.
no.
You want to I heard a video like
Only this thing. Only this thing.
You want me to teach you something? It's like I just don't know where to start. Look at my work for number 10. It's so pathetic. When you fold it, then you back it out.
numbers.
Yeah.
Can't do that. You actually have to find it's so hard to do it. You see all this work. I like. Not everything else. I got 93 on the
Now you take the derivative. And then you take the derivative. Because you want to find the maximum. You take the derivative. Bro, are you dumb, bro?
Oh, is that what? Oh, those are money.
If we don't do that, this should be Thursday price.
Wait, what are you doing?
But no, if you go to like this, you don't get price. Price is figure out something. Yeah, that's after you get the I didn't even get the dimension.
Oh, after you pull it out, it should be taken.
Oh,
It is.
let me redo this.
It's not. Take the derivative.
Wait.
Now for the money.
Is that number 9?
You're gonna plug into
All your Oh.
How do you do this question, bro? I swear to God.
for the tires and for the volume is equal to 36 and it gives you
Is there a negative volume? Can you have a negative amount of water?
Yeah, it is 820 plus. Oh, so it's 120 plus
8 and 2.
Add it all together. I think it is 4. And that's right.
Oh, okay.
Remember, it's asking you for money, so you need to plug in your money.
No, I don't.
Is that so? Okay, equal that to you know.
I'll take it out.
No, you just. And it's just the surface area where you plug in like how it's made both sides. And then you want to plug in it. And then that's when you bring down.
Oh.
You plug in your plug.
Try to do it so you put this X in here first. Just into this.
No, okay. What is the surface area of a rectangular prism? What is the surface area of a rectangular prism? What is the surface area of a rectangular prism? Okay. So yeah, these two are what did he do? So first thing you get one side is y. So the first one will be 2 times y. I don't know. That'll be the first one that's going to be wow. This will be x and y.
Yeah.
This will be x. Wait, what did you have to do? I don't know if you got it again. This will be 2 4x, will be 8x. This one you'll get 2x. So you just put them all together.
What are you plugging the money? Yeah, I did that. You're plugging the money.
But keep in mind that this and you only need one.
Okay. Shut up. I'm trying to do this. Oh god. Okay. Alright. X minus 2x.
Yeah, you think about the date? Yeah. You think about the date?
Yeah. What's the difference?
When he doesn't even know how to divide by x. Xy is equal to 192, right? Solve for y, right? 192 like this. Y is equal to x over 192. Bro. And he's like, see, we're gonna do everything wrong. I was like, you're an idiot.
Just make sure your area.
Wait, a little. This man's spending $330
Again, area is equal to
Because all over it.
why? So we get 1 y minus 3 y squared over 2 over 2. What is that?
Oh, you know like this? Oh, I know you this way. This way like this.
Take the derivative of y over and you will get
Okay, the problem is this. you stare at long,
Looking at the bus stop.
you don't see. You stare at long, it's very illusion.
There we go. Alright, so 51 is equal to 2x, x is equal to 25.5. Alright, and then put that pretty much 25.5 times 17. Now give me two variables. X is 5. X is 5. One of these in the box right there, right? So you have 4x, right? See that? 4x. 4x plus. You see 4y? Not, but I don't know what it is now. How 4y? Because you gotta multiply this times this. Right? That's gonna happen twice. And then it's gonna be plus 2 4y. And then we'll give you another one, xy. Again, that's gonna happen twice. So it's gonna be twice.
All right. I'm just gonna show you solutions of yeah, so whoever did this has a very nice handwriting. This is the first one. Is this okay?
Number 1.
Yeah, number 1. Is this okay for everybody? Yeah, I should like it because number 1 has some guidance of like what is constraint is, what is this, what is. It's kind of give you a guide like how do you start the questions. It just start with 2 numbers, and then this is gonna be it.
Why would you put P equal this, but
P is a product, or we try to maximize the product. That's called primary equation. This is the second question. Don't be like Lyndon, please.
Forgot how to divide.
Yeah, Lyndon spent like 20 minutes on that question. No, he spent 20 minutes there at it. Mr. Yeah, what is wrong? And the guy did like x, y equal to 192, and he solved for y, he got x over 192. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong. How did he get 770? That's my question. And the answer is gonna be 24 and 25. If you solve for it, it's gonna be like a not like quotient rule, but just take a derivative of that, and then you solve for that. You're gonna have x squared equal to 576, and you get 24. For me, I use wall. The wall doesn't need a fence, so you gotta get rid of wall. So it'll be x plus 2y equal to 120. And you solve for it, it's gonna be 30 and 60.
Mr. Ye, I got the same answers. I just have like x equals 30 and y equals 60.
And you can just assign variables.
Yeah.
What's your x and size?
Yeah.
And you're fine.
Is that like if I do it on the exam,
You're asking for area, so then
Yeah.
The area is 180 meters squared. And this is number 4. Now, I did it with a 4x as well. Like this person. Some people did x on the top and x on the bottom. The answer is going to come out exactly the same. It's just because that's how you define that the whole length of x, or as opposed to half the length of x. So it really depends on how you defined it. And because if you define it that way, then that's going to be that way. So this, I will say this question will be on the test. I like pig fence. And sometimes pig doesn't swim. If they build right next to a river, we're assuming pig doesn't swim. If they're like next to a river. Let me know any questions here. It's the thing is, if you set up the first two equation, the primary and the secondary equation, if you set up properly, the rest of them just calculus and the algebra, so it's not that bad. You just take a derivative set equal to 0, something that you know how to do already. But the problem is, how do you set up the first two equation, your primary or secondary? I prefer to do 4x though, but that's me. I think Luke prefer to do 2x plus 3y. I prefer to have 4x plus 3y. It doesn't really matter because that's how you define something. We are assuming the pig doesn't swim here, so you don't need a fence on the river side. Can pigs swim?
There's pigs in Hawaii that swim. What?
No, I asked Sydney. Sydney is more accurate to go to animals. I don't trust. They can definitely swim.
You know what eats pigs? Pigs. I'm just saying, if I snake can eat a whole pig, what's gonna stop him from eating a human being?
Wait, wasn't this Philip talking about that Bermuda like snake?
Yeah,
the
they, like
woman?
swallowed the woman whole.
Like, a whole entire woman? Like a little by little, like bigger, and they look like a hair.
They swallow. I think I saw one swallow the alligator and end up pierce the thing.
Mr. Day,
They should
what
not
would make you break from the anything?
All right, so so this one we are assuming the river doesn't have a fence, and then so some people again did a 1x or x. I did a x because I think that's more easier to define something. But then your area is gonna be 4xy rather than xy, so you gotta be careful at the end. Either way you did it, you had to be careful at the end when you try to find the total area. So right here it's gonna be 1125. Now again, I would definitely have one pig fence problem. So there are two of them. So this is a question 6. Yeah. Oh, because the river doesn't need a fence. We are assuming pig doesn't know how to swim. If they know how to swim, then yeah, you need a fence there. So you're not wrong for us. Pig doesn't know how to swim. Well, we're assuming like they're like very strong current. That pig just gonna flow away.
What did you like to
Go into the ocean. Yeah, sure.
So to get the maximum area for pens, you just do 18.75 times 15 divided by 4.
Yeah.
That's it.
But you had to times 4, yeah, because that's each pig fence. Yeah.
What about the one above? You just multiply x and y together.
No, the other one is still 2xy. It's 2xy. See this 2xy. Question 6. This is a comparison of two different one. And of course, one closure is going to be bigger, right? Yeah.
But this one looks like common sense though. Yeah, like it's not as worked out. It's like if I do all examples.
You have to mathematically prove it. Square base, I did this question yesterday. We did this question when we're doing the paper one. This is a great question because the number come out perfectly. The number come out perfectly, not like the other one. So this is actually factorable. I actually like this question. It's factorable.
Actually, factorizing is right, so my number's technically.
Number 9 is gonna be like this. Was same question as last one. It's just different number.
So are you gonna get one if you have to do the calculator? Or are you gonna go this all?
If I give you the one with calculator, you don't have to evaluate. Just give me square root 50 over 3 is fine.
So we have to find y.
For this one, yeah, this is the work. This one for sure on the test, right? Because the whole idea is you try to maximize the cost. If you're engineering, you're gonna realize the cost is gonna be the most important thing.
Kevin, move your head.
Poor Kevin. Kevin looks like
Could you explain this question more? Because I don't really understand it.
you got like Sean bully you like that. Yeah. Put his whole body in front of the thing. There you go. Block him completely. Can I expand this question? Yeah, of course. They say the cost of the open rectangular tank. So first of all, you gotta draw a tank. Second of all, you have to, for me, like I always write down like the base cost and the side cost because that matters. And the width is already 4. So that means your volume is a 4 times x times y. Now they say it's equal to 36. So you can actually solve for y. Don't be like Lyndon. Okay, so first of all, that what you need to do is calculate the surface area. Because surface area is going to be 4x plus ay plus 2xy. Why is that? You think of the bottom, right? The bottom is 4x, and that's only one side. There's no top. So on the other side is a 4y times 2 because there's this side and this side. And there's a front and back. Now, that's a surface area. That's not a cost equation. The cost equation, you have to multiply by 10 on the bottom. So that here you have a 10 on the bottom. And here you have a 5. So it's the surface area that you improve on surface area to the cost. You just implement the cost by multiplying this by 5, this by 5, this by 10. And when you get to that, you can simplify it. So it'd be 40x equal to, because of y, you can replace that. So that will cancel out. So that's going to be 360 over x. And this x and x cancel out. That's going to be 90. And when you get down to here, you just solve it. This is algebra. So the problem is, how do you set up the equation?
Why they find the derivative? They're trying to find the minimum maximum.
They're just trying
Yeah.
to find the maximum.
Okay.
Are we okay here?
Yeah, that's fine. You just gotta set it up.
Yeah, but this question will be on the test.
Okay.
Because the final thing, like I will tell you, calculus is not that important. Probably the only thing that's very important is to understand how optimization works. Nothing else is like, even related rate is not that important. Related rate is good, but I think optimization is really used on industrial purpose. Right? So we will get some question that is, we try to build a pipeline in the middle of Gulf of Mexico. And that question is, hey, to build in a pipeline in the ocean is much more expensive. And to build a pipeline inland is a lot cheaper. So in what distance I have to build in order to minimize the cost? So you have to do that in terms of today's homework. Okay? So today's homework, I'm going to talk about 3 other situations. First situation is going to be this one. It's a minimum distance. Minimum distance is kind of important because you want to figure out, when is the minimum distance to a point. So and this one is on the test as well. So you definitely have a pick pen questions. Make sure you know. You might have a number of questions that, like 1 or 2. you are gonna have a minimum distance question and you're gonna have a cost questions. So let me do that. Pigpen, I love Pigpen. So which point are the closest to the point 0, 2? So I'm gonna graph it. I'm sorry. Blow out the window. Okay, so I'm gonna find a function 4 minus x squared. So you should know how to do 4 minus x squared. So the graph is gonna be like something like this. So this is a parabola. 0, 2 is right here. And we want to find the shortest distance from 0, 2 to anywhere on a graph. How do we find the shortest distance? Well, what we're trying to optimize here. What do we try to optimize here? We want to find out the shortest distance from this red dot to the curve. So this red dot here to the curve. Where is the shortest distance to the curve? Where do you think? Straight across, straight going up to the side? Okay, that's a good idea. That's just intuitively. Some people might say it's like straight go to the vertex. And some people say it's diagonal to the other side. It's a little bit closer. Yes, but again, what we're trying to optimize here? No. Distance. Okay, so distance, do they have a formula for distance? What is a distance formula?
Is it velocity over time?
Square root of x squared plus y squared. Is that it? I don't know. Right.
Good job, Lenny.
Okay. You guys don't know distance formula? Oh boy. I'm gonna show you how to derive distance formula. I'm not gonna show you how to do things. So just say if I have this point and this point, what is the shortest distance? Well, you form a triangle, right? And this triangle has the difference of x minus x. So that's a x2 minus x1. Is that okay? And this y2 minus y1, right? So your distance is going to be here. This is a distance. Remember, distance square is equal to x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. It's just a Pythagorean identity. So distance equal to square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Does that make sense? It's just coming from the distance formula. Now, can I use this? So I'm gonna say distance. Now what we compare to the function, which is x, right? So it'll be x minus 0. Why is minus 0? Because we compare to the 0, 2, right? Plus y minus 2. Does that make sense? But what is y? Well, do we know what is y? No. What is y?
4.
So distance equal to square root of x squared Plus negative x square. Negative x square plus 2, right? That's going to be x squared plus x to the 4th minus 4x squared plus 4. What'd you say? Is that okay?
How'd you get that y equals 0? I mean, how'd you get that y equals 4?
Minus x squared initially.
Just put in 0 terms.
This? Wait, are you talking about this part?
Yeah.
This part is this. I replaced this y.
4 minus x. Okay. I think the 4 is y.
Now here's the tricky part. I don't want to do chain rule. Why I don't want to do chain rule? Because I'm optimized the thing. So only thing that matter is the inside. Does that make sense? Because I'm not, because whatever I'm optimized, I still square root anyway. So why don't I just care about what the inside material and I just optimize those? I don't have to do chain rule because I just want to, you understand this. It's actually, your life could be a lot easier if you understand it because you're trying to optimize what the inside, the radical anyway. Because you square root at the end. So can I just talk about distances right here? X4 minus 3x squared plus 4. And then can I just take a derivative from here? Because your life is a lot easier when you do that. Okay, this will take me a long time to explain every year. It doesn't matter if you square root or not. Because we're trying to optimize what happened the whole thing, right? So can I just optimize inside because we just square root it later? It doesn't matter because I just want to optimize the material inside.
So only for distance questions we can do this?
Only in this situation, just make your life easier because we're not trying to optimize the whole square root part. We're trying to optimize the inside, what we're going to cover. So if we will cover what's inside, you square root at the end, it doesn't really matter. But you're not trying to square root, you're just trying to find the x value that has the most optimization in the situations. So you don't need to worry about the square root.
That's the same thing like
Yeah, so same thing. Now, if you do the chain rule, you're gonna get the same thing. You still set the numerator equal to 0 regardless. The bottom is gonna go away completely and doesn't really matter. So now I'm gonna get a 2x. I'm gonna get 2x times 2x squared minus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 0. X equal to 3 over 2 square root plus minus. Now here's the thing. I have 3 critical points. How do you know this one, which one is minimized? No. I mean, it can work, but probably not the best. No. I'll take it a second derivative. Why? Because that's going to give you 12x squared minus 6, right? I'm going to plug in 0. If I plug in 0, I'm going to what? Is concave down? That's maximize. But we want to look for minimize. We want to minimize the distance. So it's not 0. So what if you have d double prime of 12 times square root of 3 over 2 squared? Well, this one's going to be 12 times 3 over 2. That's equal to 6. That's equal to 18 minus 6. That's 12. This is a minimize. So we were trying to minimize the distance. So we're trying to find out the shortest distance. This is the shortest distance. not the 0. 0 is maximized, it's actually relative max. So when you get to that point, when you go cross toward the vertex, it's actually getting further away.
Use the other root 3 over 2 because it's squared. So we can positive negative.
Yeah, positive negative is square anyway, so it doesn't matter. Because they are two sides, they are the equal distance.
You need to go back.
Oh, it's actually really cool.
And so 12, how do we write 12 as the answer? We write that as
Where's 12? 12 is to prove that's a minimized distance. The 12 is not the answer. The answer is x equal to root 3 over 2, positive and negative. That's going to provide you the shortest distance to the point 0, 2.
Like when should we like do double derivative?
When should we do double derivative? We have multiple critical points, right? And we want to make sure those critical points are the shortest distance. Because we plug in 0, we actually find out that's actually maximized rather than minimized. So that was the further distance away. Yes.
So if we have a critical point, for example, as x equals plus or minus 3 over 2, you still do double derivative because that's two values.
Yeah, you try it which one it is, but in this case, since they are square, doesn't matter. They are gonna get the same value.
it is just x equals, like do we not make that into an equation?
No, you can say at 3 over 2, root 3 over 2 and 5 over 2 is the closest distance to the point 0, 2. Why did 5 over 2 come from? I plug in the original equation, I evaluate for y. Huh?
Number the
12 is the second derivative. Second derivative will tell you the concavity. Concavity is 12, it's concave up. If it's concave up, that point has to be minimal. So it's minimize the distance. Yeah, well, no. Yeah, at 0, your concavity is concave up. Therefore, it's minimized, not maximized. That's not an answer. The answer is root 3 over 2. Positive and negative, comma 5 over 2. Yes.
Okay, so root 3 over 2 will be your minimum value, or 12 is?
No, 12 is not minimum value. 12 to prove to you that you got is a minimum value.
Well, how do you know which one's maximized and which one's minimized?
Exactly what I just said. You plug in the second derivative, you see are they positive or negative. If they are positive, that means concave up. If it's concave up, that has to be a relative min.
Oh,
If it's
okay.
concave down, then therefore it's relative max. Okay, so I'll let you try one question. How much time we have? So I'll let you try this question. This is a part of your homework. So this is y equal to x squared. And I want you to find the shortest distance from 2 and 1/2. Like I said, your test is gonna have a pig pen, shortest distance, maybe numbers. So 1 and 2, those are easy one. And I'm gonna give you a surprise.
Is that the bonus, or is it just like?
the graph is still on there. You said like you know how you have the graph.
And the question of the first day, what we did, cut off each corner. The cut off corner one, those are easy, I think, because you could actually experiment that.
They've done on Thursday.
Yuri, give me a side eye. She turned around. She gave me a side eye. I saw that, Yuri. That's not a hard question. Just multiply out together, take a derivative, and factor it. Unless you don't know how to factor. Lyndon don't know how to divide. He need to go back to the 3rd grade. Learn long division. It's a really nice number. It's a coordinate, by the way, so you gotta figure out the other coordinate. Here you got it. You double check just in case. But if it won, probably don't because you optimize something, so. Whew.
We expand these two. On the iron, right?
So your right answer should be 1, 1. Sean, you got it? Luke, can you help out Sean?
So remember
Like, bro, your handwriting. I thought that was 1/6. Everything was obvious too. I think you had we pulled off too. That's obvious too. It looks like this.
All right, I'm gonna talk about one more question that's on the test. This question is, what's the biggest rectangle you can build under a problem? Yeah, so that's a y equal to 4 minus x squared. Same thing, 4 minus x squared. So what is the biggest rectangle you can build, right? So that's going to be like this. So I might want to draw a rectangle. I don't know what size this is, but what's the biggest rectangle I can draw here? Okay. Only in the positive part, yeah. Only in between the x-axis and the thing. And I said, oh, okay, well, the biggest rectangle is going to be, well, here to here is the x, right? Did you say? Because with some type of x, right? And this is also x, right? So it'll be x times y times 2. A equal to 2xy. Does that make sense? That's the rectangle.
It's like the big thing push.
Yeah. But now the y is going to be 4 minus x squared. And all you got to do is take a derivative from here. So it'll be ax minus 2x cubed. And the a prime is going to be 8 minus 6x squared. X squared is equal to 8. X squared equal to 8 over 6. X equal to 4 over 3 plus minus. So I find out what's the biggest rectangle. So today you're going to have some homework question like that. And tomorrow I won't be here, so you guys can help out each other.
No.
What is the exam on Thursday?
Huh?
I'm thinking it's
What day?
Friday. Maybe absent on Friday, so.
Well, if you're not going to be here Friday, you can take it on Thursday. Is that better for Luke?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna be here Friday, so I'll be picking. No.
Yeah, you're not going to be here Friday? Why? What for? Yeah, what? That's fine. You can take it on Friday. Take it on Thursday.
So I'm just off number 8. I think some of us have attendance sheets, and some of them I don't think they realize. Because I was there for a lot of them, like for the week, I was there for some reason. I mean, we had a day, but we kind of like.
Me doing this, like, just to find the point of
Wait, I don't know if I'm watching.
You find double prime just fine. It could be maximized or minimized. So you want to prove. So there are 3 options here, right? So for example, this graph here. There's a 3 option. There is a point right here. And there is a point right here. Which one's maximized? Which one's minimized? Have to go to second derivative to prove which one's maximized and which one's minimized. Because second derivative is going to tell you concave down, it's a maximum. But you don't want a maximum. You want to minimize the distance. So you want to look for the second derivative is going to give you a positive value. So that is a minimum. So that's a relative min. So you want to look for a relative min. You are trying to minimize the distance from one point to the other point. Shortest distance. So what if you want to walk to there, right? If you want to walk anywhere on a curve to this point, what's the best place to walk toward there?
Is that the same with
Mario's back. But you missed a very important lesson yesterday.
same with how you saw on the graph, like
Yeah, the other case is maximize the area, so they're different.
I'm sorry.
What's up, Omar?
Like, what you know what they do? Anderson, but like, yeah.
Is it true that 9 o'clock you have to leave the Discord call? No way. I thought Aiden was joking about that.
Your parents should have curfew on Discord.
Yeah.
I just now be done with them.
Yeah, it's a curfew.
Anderson's very good.
I used to have a Asian parent. They just turn off the Wi-Fi at 9 o'clock. Turn off. It was like it doesn't matter Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter what you want to do. His dad was like a genius. He was like, click.
Dude, that's crazy to watch. You can have your phone still, but you can't.
I'm about to do that to my kids. Click. You just see like Sean. Sean only has screen time of 1 minute.
Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah. Like his messaging app has like a 1 minute screen time. But he has to like email his mom or something.
Do I understand yesterday's homework?
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of help, but like, after a while, I understood it.
Who'll help you?
There was Aiden, Raider, Henderson, Lynn, and then there was Omar. And Omar, I don't know, Omar cannot explain crap. He was just there for the emotional aspect.
But Omar's always hype.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you get the question right, you start screaming and everything. So yeah, he's there for our emotional. Goodness. Yeah. I'll do like the number one instead. Number one, relative math. Yeah. Y equals 25 equals 50, and then relative max. And then 2, x equals 24, 8. And those are relative min. 3, I didn't finish. 4, y equals 17, x equals... Yeah, no, yeah.
85 for y.
17 for y.
Y equals -4 over 3x equals 34.
I got negative. I got a equal to 51y minus 3y squared. What was your a prime equals?
A prime was negative over 3x. I'm not really sure if I can use that.
For 5, I didn't change it. For 5, I don't care.
I got 75 over 8. I didn't know if we were supposed to measure like 1 penny or 1 all depends. I only know.
No, it's set it up. There's going to be extra.
So the end of that. So it should be 8x plus 5y.
Yeah, no, I got
it would be
4x5.
4x y. I just got the area. I got 6, 3, 108.
It might have been
Yeah.
I looked at 8 and like I looked back.
It's annoying.
Even my friends were that you
I use logic.
Lots of open top is the same thing.
Yeah, but it's like my formula got equals 3 minus 2x.
I don't even have to line up.
The formula, I have no idea.
What?
One of the sides is 3.
Prove what?
The width.
But there's your X.
Prove what?
Yeah.
Would have normally at 8.
It's minimize or maximize?
Did I even see one? No, wait, yeah. It's 3 minus 2x, right? On both sides. Multiplied by that. So 3 minus 2x squared.
All right, let me give you answers first. All right, so here's the answers. The answer for the first one is 25 and 50. You are gonna have one question out of those two. I don't know which one it's going to be, but you're gonna have one question out of those two. Optimization. And second question is 24 and 8. Third question, you're gonna have a wall, so when your wall doesn't need a fence, you're gonna get 30 times 60, so you gotta get 1800, I think. That's not 180, 1800. This is all pretty easy. You are gonna have a one pick pen questions for sure. So either this one or this one. They're pretty easy. I like to assign this as an X, this is X, this is X, this is X. Some people assign it as X as a whole. That's fine. Your answer is going to get exactly the same depending on how you assign the variables. At the end, you should get 433.5 meters squared. So you're going to get, all those 4 questions, you're going to get 2 questions, okay? Actually, out of the first 5, you're gonna get 2 because this is another questions. The area equal to 4xy. Constraint is 4x plus 5y equal to 150. And then you just solve for one variable, take a derivative. You should get 18.75 and 15. But the maximum area is all 1125.
Posted on the WhatsApp.
This?
Yeah.
No. Question 6. You can do it too separately. Some people says common sense. No, I need you to prove mathematically speaking in your proof. Now, however, I don't put this question on the test. So if you don't understand it, it's not end of the world. Basically, the idea is just try to figure out what is the best way to do the enclosures. Whether you should do it 1 enclosure or 2 enclosures. Now, I won't put this on the test. Now, do the first 5 question, you're going to get 2 on the test. Question 7. We talk about this one in class, so it's nothing new. If you take a notes, this one should be a question. Now, question 8. This one will be on the test because this is the first day we did this. And this one's beautiful because it's factorable. It doesn't mean that you use quadratic. It's a completely factorable. So you see that physical domain, you cannot be 3/2 because the 3/2 is going to be out of constraint. So the maximum volume is 2 feet. Is this on the test? Yes. So I like this question because it's very easy. And I actually train you how to factor, which is nice. This one's the same thing as number 8, except surface area changing to 100, and there's a top and bottom. Y'all just taking pictures. How about figure out how to do it on your own? Okay, let's talk about number 10. Number 10's on the test as well. Did anybody got number 10? What's your answer?
$330.
Yep, that's right. $330 is right. Okay, let's look at what number 10 says. I'm going to do it here. Oh, actually, I posted answers here, so. Oh, I didn't give you answers, sorry. Number 10 are different than number 10. I think it's this one, right? It's really close to this one. Yeah. I don't know if we can copy. I don't think it can copy. So the way you draw it is, let's read this question together. They say a tank with a rectangular base, rectangular side, is open at the top, is to be constructed so width is 4 meters and the volume is 36. If the building the tank is cost $10 per square meter for the base and $5 for the side. I mean, if you have like a fish tank, you know this is on the bottom has to be the dick, very thick. On the side, it doesn't have to be as thick, because you have to. The bottom base is the most important part because that's the part you have to handle all the weights. On the other side, you just have to handle all the pressures. So it's probably more thicker. Now I'm not. Let's talk about the question. The question is says. Now you guys don't know how to draw a rectangular prism. Here's how do you draw it. Oops, sorry. You draw the parallelogram, and you draw straight down, and this is how you draw it. I have some weird people don't know how to draw this. Draw a parallelogram on top and just draw a line straight down. Just connect the bottom. You draw a square in the front on the sides and not a parallelogram sideways. Now they says, what do they say? They say volume is equal to 36, right? What else? They say width is what? 4. And they say bottom, it costs $10, I think. And the side costs what? $5. I think that's all the information is given. And they want to find the least expensive tank. Yes. Oh, I thought you just scratch your back. Okay. All right. So, what is the volume equation? Well, what is the problem is we try to minimize the costs. And cost is based on a surface area, based on surface area. So if you have this is 4, this is length, and this is a height. So let's start with surface area. Surface area, let's look at the bottom. The bottom base is what? 4L, so this is the base. So write down as the base. If you want to visually see what happened to base is going to be 4L. Now also know that 4L, this is cost a little bit more expensive. This $10 per square feet. Now the sides, okay, side, there are, this side is a 4H. And this is the cost $5, $4, sorry, $5 or $4, I don't know. $5? And there's 2 times of this. There's 2 of this. I'll draw it out, just in case. Any other side that we need to worry about? Front and back, so this is front and back. So there are 2 of them as well. So there are 2. So that's going to be LH, and this is LNH. And this costs $5 as well. So the start with surface area is equal to 4L plus 2 times 4H plus 2 times HL. Now here's a problem. Let's change the cost. The cost is 4L is going to be $10. So it'll be $10 for this one times 4L. Is that okay? Plus AH times $5 plus 2HL times $5. Am I going too fast? So that's equal to 40L plus 40H, I think, plus 10HL. So that becomes the cost. We try to minimize the cost. However, we're still missing something because there's 2 variables here. There is an L, there's H, and there's HL. Let's go back. They say 36 is equal to 4HL. Then 9 equal to HL. Does that make sense so far? And 9 equal to 9 over H equal to L. So let's go back. 9 over H is equal to L. So I'm going to say cost is equal to 40 L you want to do it in terms of L or H? What's the best? Any recommendation? You want to do it in H?
I did.
Okay. Should I do it in H or L? It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do it in H. So that's gonna be 9 over H plus 40H plus 10HL is gonna be 9 over H. So this H cancel out. So that's equal to 360 over H plus 40H plus 360. Now, why is that good? Because if you take a derivative, C prime equal to, this one's completely go away. This is 40. And 360 H to the negative 1. If you take a derivative, it's negative 360 H to the negative 2. So it'd be negative 360 H to the negative 2 equal to that. Actually plus, sorry. Which one's 90? Oh yeah, that's 90. Everything else is okay? Okay, so 0 equal to 360 H to the negative 2 plus 40 a negative, so it'd be 360 over H squared equal to 40. So 360 over 40 equal to H squared. 9 equal to H squared, H is equal to 3. So go back to plug in 9 over 3 is equal to 3. So be 3 by 3 by 4. And the day down, you're going to cost this $330. That's the cost, but 3 by 3 by 4 is the dimension. I draw out everything to show you what happened, but hopefully you can understand that. I do have primary. Primary is the cost is actually here. Is the cost equal to 40L plus 40H plus 10HL. That's the sum. But I start with surface area first because if I know the surface area, each side has different costs, right? So I build from there. So from the surface area, I transfer the cost first. And then cost is multiplied by 10 on the bottom, multiplied by 5 on the sides. And that's how I incorporate everything. Now, what is the constraint? The constraint is right here. This is a constraint right here. Usually constraints a number. So 36, so this is a constraint. This is the one that help you reduce a variable in terms of LOH. Yeah, so this is 3, right? So 3 times 4 times 10, right? Plus 4 times H. H is gonna be 3, and this is 5 times 2, plus H and L. I think it's 3 times 3 times 5 times 2. And if you add together, it should be 330.
Would be these two. No, your length is long. So 4, 8, and then it's 12. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yes, because the derivative of cost.
No, yeah, because your side, these are all sides, so they're all $5 per square foot. No matter if they're like because length and width. Yeah, they're all. It just matters like where you're the floor. It's like the one.
Okay, what's the number 5? So it's good in a row.
Number 5.
Basically, splitting up the dimensions of the prism, and then you're making it like it's not really no very because you're not saying you want to. Like I did. So here, 4L is my base, and your bottom is your base. So I have 2. So I just brought it down. No, your cost is different. This is the primary. Just like
Oh, like that.
I mean, you usually can't. Well, you can, but it. You should.
Okay, so today I want to go over. We're gonna use the same equation. We're gonna talk about 2 type of equations. First, I want to find the minimum distance from the point to the equation to the curve, like curve, or parabola in this case. In this case, I will have a graph, and this graph should be based on something like this. Sorry, that was very bad. Blah, blah. So you should have a parabola. At this parabola, there was a particular point 0, 2. So think about what is the closest from the parabola to the point. Which coordinate of the parabola is the closest to the red dot? So what do we try to minimize here? What do we try to minimize here? The distance. Okay, so how can I minimize the distance? I need what? No, well, you do need a derivative eventually, but what do you need first? Distance formula. Does anybody remember what's distance formula? That's a slope, you dumbass.
Like the square root of
All that. No.
It's
Yeah, Chauvin. All right. Distance formula is
Did you say y equals
Chauvin is something else. Dude, you guys don't even remember how the distance formula is if you just understand what Pythagorean identity is. So think about there's a point here and there's a point here, right? We want to find out the distance between 2 points. Guess what? It's a right triangle, right? So for me, I don't even memorize what the formula is. I know is this distance is right here. So d equal to x squared plus y squared, right? D squared equal to y squared. So the x in here is the delta x. Sorry, delta x and delta y. Why? Because distance equal to, so equal to delta x squared plus delta y squared. So therefore delta x is going to be x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1. And it's basically a distance formula you get it from a Pythagorean identity. If you don't know it, you could just know that's a right triangle. You're trying to find the shortest distance, and that is the distance covered. A lot of you guys are trying to memorize the equation. And if you memorize wrong, like you thought slope and distance are the same, they're not the same. Okay, so now we're gonna use this equation. We're gonna say distance. Oops. You go to x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1. Well, obviously we're gonna use x minus 0. Why is x minus 0? Because x, we're gonna use y and x. And here's y minus 2. Why? Because 0 and 2. So this is your primary equation. Not only that, your secondary is already built in already. Your secondary is due to the constraint, which is the equation. And that reduces the variable immediately. And with that being said, I can just distribute this. Okay, so now I got to this part. Now this part is kind of confusing for a lot of students. There's a shortcut. I'm gonna teach you the shortcut. The shortcut is you don't want to take a derivative with the square root because technically you try to optimize this whole thing anyway. If you do take a derivative with a chain rule, yeah, you're gonna get the same answer, but I'm gonna show you actually you don't need to do that. You can just take account into this part. Because whatever this value inside, the big or small is dependent on those things that inside the square root. So can I just take derivative of the inside rather take a derivative of the whole thing? So what I do, I don't even care about the square root because I know distance is square root of something. We're trying to optimize something. We're not trying to optimize a square root. Does that make sense? And then all I do is take a derivative that's equal to 4x cubed minus 6x. And then if I factor out 2x, that's going to give you 2x squared minus 3. And the x is equal to 0, x equal to 3 over 2 square root plus minus. There is a 3 answers. Now here comes down the problem. The problem is if there are 3 answers here, which one's correct? What can I do to see which one's correct? One of them is wrong. How can I tell which one's correct? How can I prove which number is correct? There's 3 answers: 0, positive square root of 2, and negative square root of 2. How do I know which one's right? No. No. How do you verify the maximum or minimum distance? Yes and no. Not the most efficient way.
Take the second derivative.
Yes. Why?
Prove it's
Good. To take a second derivative. So if I do the second derivative, that's going to give you 12x squared minus 6. Now I'm going to plug in 0, see what happened. If I plug in 0, it's going to be what? It's negative 6. Negative 6 is concave down. Is that a minimize? No, concave down is maximum. It's actually relative maximum. It's not a good answer. But what if it's d double prime of square root 3 over 2? Well, that's just going to be 12 times square root 3 over 2 squared minus 6. That's just 12 times 3 over 2 minus 6. It's 18 minus 6. That's equal to 12. 12 is concave what? Up. It's a relative min or max? Min. So therefore, this is the answer, this is not. How do you figure out what is shortest distance? Plug it back in. 4 minus square root 3 over 2 square. So be 4 minus 3 over 2. That's equal to 5 over 2. So at 3 over 2 positive at 5 over 2. And negative square root 3 over 2 at 5 over 2. That is the shortest distance, which is roughly right, probably right here. Yeah.
Isn't it kind of obvious that the answer is going to be 3 over 2? Because like, if there's a distance between the 2 points, it has to be something rather than something. Does that make sense? Like, isn't like you're solving for the x? Like, there's like no distance between them.
I come out with an analogy of that. It's kind of obvious that person's gay. But what if he's not gay?
You like make the right like on the spot right now. You gotta
What if he's not gay? He's just act minimum. You cannot say that's obvious.
Also, I just saw when you're solving for like the distance formula, how did you get like 4 minus minus x squared minus 2.
4 minus x squared because of y is, this is a y, right? Like, no, we, in this world, we ask for proof. I'm trying to give you analogies like, we need a proof to show you that. And I provide a proof that he's gay.
Well, how do you know that was your wife?
Because this is usually y minus 2, but y is right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No.
So that's a good question. Okay, so Josh says, can you re-explaining why do I just drop the square root? If I don't drop the square root, I'm gonna get this exact same answer. Just I do chain rule. But why I don't worry about the square root? Just because we are trying to optimize the material inside anyway. At the end, it's gonna be square root of that. So it doesn't matter if the square root is there or not there, because we try to optimize what the inside anyway, because the inside is the distance. We just square root of that distance. So it doesn't matter with the square root or without square root. Now let's assume that we do it without square root. That's just going to be 1/2 x to the 4 minus 3x squared plus 4 to the negative 1/2 times by 4x to the third minus 6x. I still find a critical number from here. I don't need to worry about here because that's just a denominator. The denominator equal to 0 is going to be undefined. It's not a critical point that I'm worried about. It's a critical point I'm worried about is right here anyway. So regardless, you're going to get exact same thing, because we are trying to optimize what's inside, not what's after square root. Yes, Chauvin.
After you do like the 4 minus x squared, remember? How come you didn't take the square root of the x to the 4th minus 3x squared plus 4?
Where are you talking about? Which part? Here? Here?
Yeah.
Or here?
The first dot.
First dot, what happened?
Why didn't you take the square root of that?
I just, what? I just explained that the whole time and you want to pay attention. Chauvin. Sometimes I wonder if you're here.
The part above it, like there's like a square.
There was a square root, right? There was no square root. Imagine you don't take a square root. It's fine. You wanna do it with the square root. It's fine. You still set this equal to 0 regardless. So, but that's okay. I love mess with Chauvin.
It's really pretty fun.
No, the reason why I come out a gay analogy is the one day I saw this kid, right? And I was like, I was talking to Kelly. I was like, yeah, the gay kid. And he was like, and she got so offended. Kelly got so offended. Kelly's like, why did you call him gay? What if he's not? What if he just act feminine? I was like, there was no way he's not gay. There was no freaking way he's not gay. So I went up to him. I was like, are you gay? And the guy's like, yeah, I'm gay. I'm proud of it. And it was like this. I was like, see? He's gay.
You got your proof.
No. No, I swear, this is an actual story of last year.
You got the balls to go up to him.
He's like, I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you know.
He owned up to it. He was like, yeah, I'm gay. Of course. Can you tell? He was like, he's wearing like, he was like wearing like tight shorts and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, see, I'm not offending anybody.
That's right.
That's okay if you're gay. I think like people so get sensitive these days. Like people get offended. Like they're not offensive. You're gay. You're gay. I'm not offending you. Did you ever went up to somebody, ask them if they're gay?
I've never, personally, I've never. I've not had that experience yet.
Yeah, you got
But I don't know why people gonna get offended. You that say yes or no.
It's better for you to know than to make it wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to like. I don't know. I think people get easily
I
offended.
get what you're saying.
All right, we're gonna talk about how much time I have. I'm gonna talk about next question. Same situation. So same situation of this one. Okay, so we have y equal to 4 minus x squared. So you guys gonna have homework about this as well. So again, this is the same thing again. Same parabola, same everything. So this time, I'm gonna have a x-axis right here. I'm gonna say, hey, what's the biggest rectangle you can build inside this parabola? What's the biggest rectangle that you can build? Okay, so what can you optimize this rectangle? So we're gonna have the arbitrary rectangle right here. Okay, so I don't know how big is that rectangle. So the idea is this: the area of this rectangle is what? Huh? Okay, so what's the length here? X times y, but is that a full rectangle?
no.
That's only the right side rectangle. So it'd be 2 times the xy. Why? Because this is the x, this is the x, right? This is the y, right? So the area with this is 2 times xy. Or you can have one side times 2. Same thing. Okay, so then you do have a constraint. Pay attention, you do have constraint already, because constraint is this. And then that's just gonna be ax minus 2x cubed. And a prime is equal to 8 minus 6x squared. And you can set it equal to 0. So this is another question that you might have. And if you want to find out the area, well, you just have to plug in the equation. So what is the and if I take if I plug in 4 over 3 here, then it's gonna be 4 minus 4 over 3, I think. And that's gonna be a over 3, I think. Is that a over 3? So area is equal to 2 times a over 3 times by square root of 4 over 3. And I don't know whatever that area is. So you can try to find the maximum area. So there are 2 types of situations. This 2 questions is also on the test as well. So you're gonna have like 6 questions that deal with optimization.
For the area where we just stop there,
I don't really care if you solve it or not, because that's just a number. You kind of need a calculator. mean value stuff, no, but you're gonna see on AP exam. Every single AP exam is always mean value theorem. Every single one. There's nothing. There was no AP exam without mean value theorem. It's like one of the most important theorem that they always go after. Now I give you extras to help you to practice the algebra part because I feel like your algebra still need to work out. Definitely. Just
Good algebra. Because I can conceptually understand.
yeah, algebra is always the biggest problem. Like if my student always told me like this is not calculus class, it's like algebra on steroid. Yeah.
Doesn't really make a big difference. How come when you write fx, you write
Huh? F of x what?
but like you make when you write f it doesn't make that big a difference. Like, how come you write 4 minus x squared is
It didn't make a difference, but for me, like I just should be like negative x squared plus 4, but I don't really care. I'm not here tomorrow, so tomorrow you guys all day to work with each other.
Or like wait, no, they don't give you the value, bro. It's just like you just have 2x and then it's one half and the other half. I don't explain it, bro. Just makes a lot of sense though. Yeah, wow, I would actually have 2x. Oh, it's done, it's done.
I have work from 3 to 11.
Well, luckily I won't be here tomorrow, so.
Oh, you have the teacher training? So, are we doing before
You guys go on because you guys have tests, so not my problem.
we can pre-record the video?
No, I'm not pretty ready. We already finished go over optimization. All the possibility question I already talked. All the question will be on the test. I already told you.
So the test is only on optimization or is it also on graph?
Optimization and graphing. Grace, stay awake. And you need to finish your homework, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's up?
Good, how are you?
You look tired.
I am tired.
Really hard.
Yeah,
Coming up
I
into-
was only able to do the first 3 problems because I got home from work at like 11.
Where do you work?
Publix.
Oh. Why do you work at Publix?
What?
Why do you work at Publix?
I mean, I enjoy the job. The cashier there, I really like it. It's just that, like, I worked until 10, and then by the time I was actually like able to do stuff, it was 11. What?
You a cashier too?
I work at a movie theater and we do like everything.
Somebody else work
My
at
voice
movie
goes
theater.
up like 2 octaves.
Is Shang work at movie theater? Shang Anderson?
Not mine.
Which movie theater do you work at?
Maddie.
Sure,
Like
that's
2 octaves when I'm a cashier.
Stetson's?
The university.
Expensive. Why do you have Stetson?
I went to the camp that was just in college.
What kind of camp? Church camp? Do they have
Yeah.
like
Alien.
Do you have the stickers? Do you have the stickers?
oh look
There
who's
you-
back.
I'm so disappointed.
Josh.
No, please.
Josh.
No,
Josh you get up in the morning and just cough.
I fell back asleep.
It was a joke. It was a joke. You don't have to give me the
Cough, Sam. I'm sick.
You're fine. There was nothing to say. You had to. That was why? Now I feel bad. No, I feel bad because you feel bad. Stop feeling bad. Stop it. Okay, thank you. That's all I able to do problems 1 through 3. Not that I couldn't do it, so I'm waiting. I couldn't. Hi, Corbin. How much of the
All of it. Oh, I tried question 10. But at that point I was
I did questions 1, 2, 3.
good job, Ethan. You did nothing.
Yeah,
I also brought notebooks.
I really did
I
try.
brought notebooks. It's something that I after you that I
How's your homework?
yeah, me too.
What do you mean?
No, you don't know like it was a 5 subject notebook. I'll give you my stickers, Celine, don't worry.
Cannot do it?
Can I have stickers?
No, you may not.
Why?
Is it history vocab class?
That's discrimination.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I wrote 8 push on my notebook. What if I do
Oh
like
my
that?
god. AP calculus. It's calculus.
Oh my god. No, I did. I literally just came back from the lab. Bro, what am I doing?
8 push 5.
Why did I write 8 push on my notebook?
Come on, man. You gotta do better.
There's your 8 push number now. Your 8 push book that you do math in.
Dylan, you gotta go buy a new math.
No, just keep 8 push on there. I'll probably get it that way.
Or you could just cross out the ush.
Hey, couch. Okay, lol. You got tricked. You got trolled. I like how the A push is really nice handwriting and the JK itself looks so much worse.
I'm
Look at how good her handwriting for Kate was in comparison to the other handwriting.
Delane's handwriting is just good in general.
I know, but her handwriting for the other part looks like my handwriting.
Okay, number 10, show me.
You did 1 through 7. Hi, Corbin. You abandoned us. You just want to use us. You just want to use us. I got C 1250. From the maximum area. X was equal to 50, Y was equal to 25. Okay. X was equal to 24 and Y was equal to 8.
Okay.
I got X was, where is it? X is 30, Y is 16.
Okay. We're good to
We're doing it, Mr. Yang. I did all the questions. I did all the 3 questions I did. I got it right. I did. She's so disappointed. I like printed it out. Like, hey, stop writing the problem. It's gonna take you even longer. So then I did this, and I'm like, okay, here's.
All right. The first question is 25 and 50. Let me know if you have any question before I move on. This is an easy one. Out of the first 2, you're going to get 1 question on the test. Yeah, easy. The second question is a little bit harder because it's a second question. Is that okay? Do you have any question before I move on? Third question, this is also a test question. So through the first 5 questions, you're gonna have 2 questions on the test. If you learn how to set up the equation, you win most of the battle. And rest of them just calculus. So, and that's not even hard calculus. It's not like crazy quotient rule or crazy derivative. It's simple power rule. The total maximum area is 1800. Second questions. I like to assign the x that way, y down that way. So I'm at 4x plus 3y. Some people do it 2x plus 3y. I don't like that way, but the answer should be the same. Corbin, you're checking your answer?
Yes.
Number 4 is okay. Any questions before I can? Number 5, we're assuming the pig doesn't know how to swim. Even though pig knows how to swim.
That is wrong. Wait, that doesn't make any sense to me. If you build a pen, you're still gonna build a wall with a river.
Yeah.
Even if it's next to a river.
We are assuming pig doesn't know how to swim.
Wait, my X value is
I'm some really stupid farmer.
exactly half.
Exactly. So I did 2 sides of X.
All of that X,
I did too.
I feel like you'd have to divide it half.
Oh, so bad. Oh, wait,
I got one.
I got one.
Yeah.
No, wait, what do you mean the river?
No, like one side is only one side of the other side of the
Oh, I got that.
no farmer in the world has done that.
That's why my X value is pretty bad.
Who wrote this book? No farmer who wrote this book.
Kindergarten would be like not different anything else in the world. Oh, I guess you'll have to drown. Yes, you are. Yeah, you drown yourself. Resurrected.
He's still working. We're like, "Oh, that's my life," and he's like, "Ah, it's her birthday."
All right, number 6. Number 6 is the 2 enclosure versus the 1 enclosure.
I mean,
Sweet.
for the 2 pens, I got it.
Huh?
Who gave you that?
You did. That's your.
Yeah, for the 2 pens, I got it.
Well, it has to be able to.
It doesn't have to be able to.
It literally does.
It doesn't have to.
All you need is 8 feet of fence and it exists.
You like tennis?
Wait, can you scroll down a little bit?
Which one?
Just for this one. Like, to see the one.
Okay, no,
Oh,
I wasn't
oh,
more on.
okay, no, okay.
Where did I go?
When's gonna be?
Thursday or Friday?
No.
This Thursday or Friday?
What? Is there more optimization after this?
Huh?
Is there gonna be more optimization after this?
Oh, we're gonna talk about other situation today.
We're gonna also on Thursday, huh?
Oh no, it's gonna be
I
like
thought we literally just had some space
fear we can make.
Don't.
We need some time to breathe this year.
Not like to do like
We're not gonna
other things.
we're gonna whole week off.
Question 7 we already did in the class. Same questions. Question 8, that's a great question because it's factorable. Nice.
All buyers should be, yeah.
This question will be on the test as well because this one is the first thing we did. This is the same question except it's 108. Instead of 108, this is 100. Okay, let's talk about question 10. Question 10 is on the test.